Have you heard of the dark empath? The dark empath is not a clinical diagnosis. It's a pop psychology term, if you will, that's been around since about 2020. It's an extreme type of narcissism that stems from the idea of the dark triad, which is somebody who displays traits of narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. The dark empath can be seen as a very extreme covert narcissist or an outgoing social psychopathic type personality. They cognitively understand empathy and can display it very well in order to manipulate you into giving them intel about your life that they can then use against you later. And due to their Machiavellian traits, they might do this to get ahead in business, or because of their psychopathy, they might do it just to mess with you, just to get you to react. This can be how people get into trauma bonds with narcissists because they're actually dating dark empaths who seemingly show a lot of empathy in the beginning and then get really cold and evil as the relationship goes on. The main trait you're going to find with a dark empath is that they are antagonistic. They'll be like, oh, was that mental health training at work really hard for you because your coworkers think that you're loony just like your father was? They are weaponizing the vulnerabilities and traumas that you told them at an earlier date in order to antagonize you, but they are seemingly acting like they care and they're really good listeners. This tends to make them very social, outgoing, and great in groups, more so than the dark triad. And some people fear the dark empath and the damage that they can do more than the psychopath, who's easier to spot at times. But narcissism is so in the public rhetoric now, so many people are aware of the traits, that these personalities have to shapeshift and be even more convincing in order to lure in victims. So here's an example so you get a scope of what all these different personalities actually mean. Let's say that I'm terrified of bees, and there is a bee walking on the wall of a room. An empathic person who's with me and knows this will cover my eyes and say, "Don't look, leave the room," and then take care of the bee for me. A narcissist won't even know that I'm afraid of bees because they were just thinking about themselves and they tuned me out. A psychopath will lock me in a room full of bees just to watch me get stung and in pain and scream and cry. Someone who has Machiavellianism will say, "I will make sure that you never see another bee for the rest of your life if you vote for John Doe for mayor," because that person knows they're going to be the advisor to John Doe and gain power from you. A covert narcissist will victimize themselves. "Why are you so obsessed with this bee? You never pay any attention to me." And a dark empath will notice you haven't seen it on the wall yet, point it out to you, and say, "Look at that bee. Isn't that scary to you because you have such a fragile mind?" And will watch you freak out and get enjoyment out of it. So I hope that clears up all these different terms for this very toxic personality. But bottom line, you should not date any of these people. If you think you're with a dark empath, you've got to get out of there, go no contact.